The hallway outside courtroom 6B is too quiet for a Wednesday morning in downtown Los Angeles. No reporters, no clicking heels, just the weight of something unsaid pressing against the walls like heat behind glass. Fluorescent lights hum faintly above, and the air smells like old carpet and adrenaline. An assistant, mid-20s, pale, eyes darting, clutches a worn manila folder to her chest as though it holds the last clean truth in a world that's about to get filthy. Her nails dig crescent moons into the cardboard. Kim Kardashian stands a few feet from the door. No makeup, no glam squad, just her. Hair pulled back tight, black blazer draped like a curtain over a frame more rigid than usual. She's still, too still. The kind of still that comes only when your body forgets to pretend it's okay. Her heels don't shift, her fingers don't scroll, her breath doesn't show, except in her hand, which trembles slightly, just once, before she folds it beneath the other. Behind the door, voices are raised. One of them breaks through, muffled but unmistakable. The name slices the silence like a scalpel. Combs. A federal agent by the elevator glances at his watch, then at the door, then away. Down the hallway, a muffled sob breaks and is just as quickly swallowed. Maybe from a staffer, maybe from someone who's been holding something for far too long. No one speaks. Not the clerk, not the security, not even Kim, who doesn't look at anyone. Only forward into something no one else in this hallway can see. And just like that, the most photographed woman in the world said something no camera had ever captured. The judge doesn't look up when it happens. He's reading from a stack of stapled documents with the mechanical cadence of someone who's done this too many times to be shaken by it. But somewhere in the middle of page 6, his voice falters, only slightly, a shift in breath. Like the air in the room has changed weight. Previously redacted in Exhibit C, name now revealed per court order. He doesn't emphasize it, doesn't need to. Kimberly Noel Kardashian. Time collapses into a breathless void. The court reporter's keys stop clicking. A bailiff leans forward, unsure whether he heard it right. The defense attorney's mouth opens just enough to exhale confusion. In the back row, a woman in pearls covers her mouth without realizing it. A man in a gray suit, maybe media, maybe legal, stares ahead like he's seen a ghost. No one moves, and yet the murmur spreads like wildfire, not spoken, but passed through widening eyes and tightening throats. You can hear it in the silence, the way the word Kimberly echoes so strangely. Not Kim, not the tabloid-friendly silhouette, not the Met Gala muse. Kimberly, the girl beneath the empire, the citizen, the witness. On the bench, the judge clears his throat, but the room has already cracked open. Kim doesn't speak. She doesn't flinch, just lifts her eyes, slowly, not toward the judge, not toward the lawyers, toward the ceiling, as if waiting for the room to catch up with a truth she's known for years. 3 rows back, an older reporter drops her pen. It clatters against the floor like a verdict. She doesn't pick it up. No cameras, no audio, just the low rumble of bodies shifting, paperwork whispering, shoes grinding nervously against old linoleum. The name sits in the open air like spilled ink on white silk. Irreversible. And somewhere behind the courtroom glass, someone is already texting the headline. But no headline can hold what this moment just became. It's late spring, 2011, the kind of Los Angeles evening where the sky glows a little longer than it should, like even the sunset is lingering out of curiosity. Up in Bel Air, behind a wrought iron gate so tall it dares you to dream, Diddy's mansion pulses like a heartbeat. The party hasn't started, not really, but already the gravel driveway is lined with black cars, their drivers standing silent, sunglasses still on even as dusk settles. Inside, it's candlelit, not accidentally, deliberately. Over 100 wax pillars flicker along the marble hallways and staircase banisters, casting long, slow-moving shadows. It smells like vetiver, champagne, and faint, expensive smoke. No camera crews, no TMZ, no Instagram. Just a velvet rope exclusivity that promises something more valuable than publicity. Silence. Phones are surrendered at the door, placed into sealed black bags with zip locks like evidence. A tall man in a black suit takes them without asking names. Kim walks in alone. She's wearing a champagne-colored gown that drapes off one shoulder, soft satin that kisses the floor behind her. Her earrings catch the candlelight like glass catching fire. Her makeup is flawless, but her expression isn't. There's something behind the gloss, a hesitance like a girl walking into a room she was told was safe, but feels otherwise. Kanye's not there. He's still finishing the album. She came alone. Diddy insisted. The music is low, older, Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield, a hint of Nina Simone. The crowd is curated. CEOs, foreign royalty, two actresses known more for their divorces than their films. There's a whisper that a tech billionaire is upstairs. No one says his name. Diddy appears around the grand staircase like he's floating. Black silk shirt, no tie, cigar unlit, but twirling slowly in his fingers. He moves through people like water, gravitational. Every smile is for him, every laugh an echo of his cue. He sees her and walks straight toward her. No hesitation. Their exchange is brief, a kiss on the cheek. His arm lingers on her waist longer than a friend's. He leans in close, lips just beside her ear. We don't hear what he says, but Kim flinches, almost imperceptibly. Just a sharp blink, just a stiffness in her shoulders. Then it's gone. She smiles. They keep walking. Later that night, the party spreads. Rooms open. Pools glow. A jazz quartet begins to play somewhere behind a living wall of orchids. But one room, down a short hallway past a staff-only sign, stays closed. Velvet drapes block the windows. A silent security guard stands nearby, arms folded, not looking anyone in the eye. Kim walks down that hallway. Her assistant tries to follow. Diddy stops her gently with one hand, smiles. She's good. The door closes. No one sees Kim again for over an hour. When she reemerges, her earrings are off. Her hair is slightly undone. She's not drunk, not high, but something is missing, like she left a part of herself behind and isn't sure if she should ask for it back. An unfamiliar man, maybe staff, maybe not, places a small white card in her hand. She doesn't look at it, just slides it into her clutch. Diddy calls across the hall, louder than necessary. Hope it helped, baby. Big things coming. She nods once. She doesn't say thank you. The next morning, the sun rises too brightly over Bel Air. Dew clings to the windshields of the cars parked along the slope. Kim walks barefoot to her car. Her shoes are in her hand. Her hair is pinned up hastily. The gown still shines, but she does not. She gets into the car. The door closes, and the driver doesn't ask where to. It's 3:17 a.m. when the first photo drops. Kim, stepping out of a nondescript warehouse somewhere south of downtown LA. The location isn't on Google Maps. No logos, just steel doors and graffiti-coated brick. The street lamps hum like ghosts. Her driver pulls up, window already lowered, engine already running. She's wearing oversized sunglasses and a trench coat that nearly swallows her. No makeup, no entourage. Her heels echo against the cracked pavement like she forgot she wasn't supposed to be heard. There are no fans waiting, no photographers shouting her name. Just one lens, one angle, one picture. By 6 a.m., it's everywhere. Late night mystery, Kim K leaves secret collab meeting, new Skims drop or Kanye studio session. Third night out in 4 days. Work mode or trouble? But the noise is camouflage. Behind the headlines, something colder stirs. A stylist, someone who once prepped her Met Gala looks, sends a cryptic text to another assistant. It's a whisper in pixels. She doesn't go to those things unless he makes her. The message is deleted 2 minutes later, but it's too late. It's screenshotted, archived, reposted in a locked Discord. Then it surfaces again, anonymously, on a Reddit thread no longer about fashion, but control. Another post appears 3 days later, blurry screenshots of a private DM. It's a message chain from early 2011, a name, a location, a question. Why is she with him again? You know why. It vanishes after an hour. But someone saved it. They always do. Inside the industry, the shift is subtle, not spoken aloud, but felt in calendar cancellations and hushed-side conversations. A choreographer quietly pulls out of a project. A makeup artist says she's fully booked for the month. PR managers start advising against certain circles, and yet no one speaks. Not on the record, not in daylight, because the name, his name, is heavy. The kind of name that lives in penthouses and sealed contracts, a name with its own gravitational field. You don't say it, you navigate around it. Kim is seen again 2 weeks later at a charity brunch in West Hollywood. She's glowing, smiling, seated between two billionaires, but there's something vacant behind the lashes. She clinks her mimosa glass, poses for a photo, and excuses herself to the restroom for 23 minutes. When she returns, her hands are shaking. A waitress notices. A brand executive whispers to his assistant, "We don't need to post that one." Behind closed doors, in wardrobe trailers and hair chairs, the truth is already half known. Everyone's heard something, seen something. Remembered a look, a gesture, a night that didn't feel right. But like fog, it slips through fingers. Because in Hollywood, knowing is dangerous. But pretending not to? That's survival. And still, the screenshots reappear. They multiply in corners of the internet meant to vanish. Threads with titles like, "Remember that night in Bel Air?" Or, "Why did she stop going to his parties?" One post shows her barefoot in 2011, zoomed in from a parking lot camera, side by side with the 3:17 a.m. warehouse photo. Same trench coat, same silence. Someone comments, "Everyone knew, but no one spoke." He takes the stand with hesitation, not performance. There's no swagger, no agenda, just the slow steps of a man who spent too long behind glass, watching other people shape the world with beauty, power, and silence. His name is Matthew Rains. In another life, he was one of them, the elite few with unrestricted access. A celebrity photographer who never chased, he was invited. His camera had captured red carpets, poolside smiles, the kind of parties where no one ever checks their watch because time didn't matter. Now his eyes look older than the rest of him. Not tired, just weathered, like a photograph left too long in the sun. The courtroom waits for his testimony with the same held breath they gave Kim. But he doesn't deliver a monologue. He speaks like someone unraveling a knot he's carried in his chest for a decade. He tells them about a night in 2012, a private party in Holmby Hills, NDA only, candlelight again, glass floors, bottles with no labels, phones surrendered, not asked, required. He wasn't working the event. He had been invited as ambiance. That's what they called it. Beautiful people, placed like furniture. And yet he brought a small lens anyway. Habit, hidden. That's when he saw her. Not on the balcony where the others posed, not at the champagne fountain where laughter was choreographed, but in the hallway, alone. Kim, standing still, back pressed to the wall, her dress a deep, liquid navy. She wasn't crying, but she wasn't blinking either. 3 men stood nearby, not talking, just there, suited, silent, watching the hallway, not her. Matthew whispers, "It didn't look like a hallway. It looked like a cage. The room doesn't move, not even the judge." He says he raised the camera, not to shoot, just instinct, framing something in his mind. That's when she turned, not to him, but toward the exit, fast, like a deer remembering the forest had teeth. He lowers his head as he recalls it, doesn't finish the sentence. The prosecution gently pushes, "Did he see Diddy that night?" Matthew's voice tightens. "I saw him everywhere, even when he wasn't in the room." That line lands like thunder beneath a clear sky. He doesn't say more, doesn't need to. His photographs are submitted as evidence. Not the hallway shot that was never taken, but others. Faces too stiff for celebration, eyes scanning doors, women gripping clutches like lifelines. Silent glamour, panic with diamonds on. When he steps down from the stand, he doesn't look at anyone until he passes the front bench. That's where Kim is sitting. They don't speak. But for a second, their eyes meet, and the courtroom finally exhales. Somewhere behind them, someone whispers, "Finally." The moment cracks open a truth no flashbulb ever caught. The courtroom doesn't shift, it doesn't murmur, it doesn't move, because when she stands, the air itself feels like it tightens, as though every molecule is watching her, waiting, holding its breath. Kim Kardashian West, sworn in. There's no fanfare, no photographers, no diamonds. Her hair is pulled back tightly, not for fashion, for control. Her suit is black, shapeless, almost austere, the kind of black worn not for mourning, but for fortification. She sits, adjusts the microphone once, doesn't test it, and for the first time, her voice isn't filtered through a camera lens, a producer's cut, or a social caption. It is real, calm, but breathless between words. "I was told not to tell this part. Not because it wasn't true, but because it wasn't useful." The room doesn't stir. It listens. "He never hurt me in ways you can point to. There were no bruises you could photograph. Just the slow unraveling of what I thought I chose." She pauses, breathes. Her fingers, folded in her lap, press slightly into her palms, almost as if bracing herself, not for memory but for permission. "He made me feel like silence was my only currency, that the more I withheld, the more valuable I became." No one writes. Even the stenographer blinks slower. It started with compliments, the kind that sound like contracts. He'd say, "You're smarter than they think you are. I can show them that." And when you're that young, and they already think they know you. You want someone to believe there's more. She looks down once, not to avoid, but to remember. The first time it felt wrong was at a house in the hills. There was a dinner. He sat me next to a man from overseas. I don't know his name. I was told, be nice. It's good for your brand. And I didn't understand until later what be nice actually meant. A juror shifts. Every time I wanted to leave, he'd remind me of what I was building. You're not just a girl anymore. You're a company. As if my worth was something I had to prove in silence. There's no bitterness in her voice, just an eerie steadiness, like she has walked through this memory 1,000 times in private, and now she's offering it up, polished like a relic. There were nights I'd leave his events and not remember who I had spoken to, because they weren't conversations, they were transactions. And I didn't know what I was trading until it was gone. She looks directly at the judge. He never laid a hand on me. He didn't have to. That line hangs, long, cold. She continues, not as someone making a case, but as someone unthreading a weight stitched into her skin. There were rooms where I didn't speak, because I wasn't supposed to, where I laughed at things I didn't understand, where I said yes to questions I wasn't asked. Her voice falters once, barely. And I kept telling myself, this is just what it costs to become who they say you already are. A woman in the back bites her lip, hard. But somewhere in there, I stopped recognizing my own silence. It stopped feeling like strategy. It started to feel like surrender. She folds her hands again. I'm not here to destroy him. I'm here because I learned that silence doesn't keep you safe. It keeps you indebted. And eventually you forget what you owe and who owns you. The court does not cry. It holds its breath, because her words are not dramatic. They are meticulous, almost surgical in their simplicity. He told me once, trust me, they don't want the real you. They want the version I show them. She breathes again. I think he believed that. Maybe that's the saddest part. The prosecutor does not interrupt. The defense does not object. No one does. Because this isn't testimony, it's excavation. There's a photo of me from years ago, leaving a warehouse, 3 a.m. I looked tired, just tired, but I wasn't. She glances toward the jury. I was afraid that if I left that circle, I'd be no one. A long silence follows. It's not awkward, it's reverent. She ends with something barely above a whisper, and yet it echoes like thunder in a hallway. I'm not the same woman who went into those rooms, but I'm finally speaking as the one who came out. The courtroom doesn't applaud. It wouldn't dare. It begins with a cancellation, a routine press event, one that, under normal circumstances, Diddy would command like a throne, is suddenly, quietly called off. No rescheduling, no reason given, just a sterile email from his team, signed without a name. Then another appearance drops. A brand partnership, dissolved. His lawyers say it's a strategy. Insiders know better. The unraveling doesn't announce itself with scandal. It trickles, software. Almost respectful at first, like rot beneath wallpaper. On the third missed court date, the cameras catch him. Not inside, but outside. Not walking, but slouching into a waiting SUV outside a gated compound in the hills. His beard is uneven. His sunglasses, large, black, swallowing, can't hide the red that bleeds around his eyes. Sleep hasn't found him in days. Or maybe he's running from it. A photo leaks. He's shirtless, barefoot, standing behind the glass of a mansion window, holding a tumbler of something gold, staring at nothing. The house looks less like a sanctuary than a bunker. He posts to Instagram that night. A black screen, white serif font, nothing else. Loyalty kills. No caption. It disappears in an hour. But screenshots live forever. A stylist who used to work with him anonymously tells a podcast, this isn't like before. He's not spinning this. He's not even talking. Someone else, a former assistant, tells a journalist off record, he used to orchestrate chaos like symphonies. Now it's just noise. His voice begins to crack in interviews. What few he gives are stiff, confused, clashing with the polished composure he once wielded like currency. When asked if he'll respond to the court allegations, he smiles. But it doesn't reach his eyes. The laugh that follows is hollow, echoing like a man trying to remember the punchline. And yet he doesn't rage. Not publicly. He withdraws. The private jets go dark. The parties stop. The invitations that once rolled in like tides suddenly stall. No one is seen entering or leaving his estate. Just silence and occasional flickers. A photo of an empty studio, a story reposted with no comment, a quote from Malcolm X, cropped to avoid context. Then in a live clip, a fan calls out from the crowd at a music festival, "We see you, Sean." He turns, smiles, but stumbles mid-response. "Y'all know what it is. They know who I really am." Then nothing. He walks off stage mid-set. It doesn't make headlines, but it makes memory, because the man who once controlled every camera now twitches when the lens finds him, not in fear, but in recoil. A record executive, anonymous again, sums it up to a reporter. He's not used to not owning the room, and now the rooms are watching him from every angle. There are no headlines, no interviews, no exclusive tell-alls, only absence, only rearrangements, only silence that suddenly feels loud. It starts with Beyoncé. She doesn't say a word, but she does remove one. A post from 2014, long buried, featuring Diddy backstage at one of her tours. It disappears without comment, no fanfare, no acknowledgement, just gone. People notice. Screenshots resurface. Comparison grids emerge. Then versus now. But nothing official is ever said. That's the new currency. Movement without mouth. Naomi Campbell, once photographed flanking Diddy at a Cannes yacht party, suddenly reposts a photo of Kim's skincare line. No caption, no tag, just the product, a soft lit bottle on marble. People notice that too. TikTok becomes a mirror maze. Creators dissect old red carpet clips, blurry after-party footage, nightclub grain. One video slows down a 2012 moment. Diddy places his hand gently on Kim's lower back as they exit a venue. Her reaction, subtle, but now unavoidable, is a slight flinch, a shift forward, the kind of recoil that only becomes visible when seen after the story changes. Comments fill with timestamps. "She was uncomfortable. We just didn't see it. Or we didn't want to." Another creator finds a panel interview from 2016. Diddy jokes about how Kim understood the power of keeping certain doors closed. The audience laughs. Kim doesn't. Someone overlays that audio with her recent courtroom stills. No added commentary, just a juxtaposition that speaks louder than any voiceover. The algorithms reward it. YouTube thumbnails get darker. Podcasts don't headline with Kardashian drama anymore. They whisper about the cost of silence, the architecture of power and entertainment, the men who walk behind the curtains of billion-dollar brands. Celebrities continue their dance of nonverbal allegiance. One removes a Diddy-produced track from their Spotify playlist. Another unfollows him, quietly, but not Kim. She doesn't post, doesn't engage. Her grid remains frozen in time. The same brand shoots, the same curated stills of luxury. But now beneath each post, a new layer of comments. Not insults, but thank yous. Not hysteria, but echoes. A hairstylist posts a story, a blurry candlelit image with a single sentence. "We all knew. We just waited for someone brave enough." It's reshared 400,000 times in 24 hours. Still, no one says his name, because they don't have to. By now, the silence says it louder. The courtroom has changed, not in architecture. The walls remain wood-paneled and cold, the seal of the court still looming above the judge's bench like a disinterested god, but in atmosphere. It is no longer about one man, not anymore. It starts when a name is added to the witness list. A. Diaz, former assistant to a high-profile publicist known for moving between celebrity camps like a silent courier. Then another, T. Reeves, who once handled car dispatches for late-night events, the kind where no photos were taken and the windows were always tinted darker than regulation allowed. Then comes her, Jocelyn Kay, a former model, long vanished from the spotlight after a single runway season in 2013. She appears small, unnaturally so, on the witness stand. She doesn't look like someone giving testimony. She looks like someone dragging a boulder behind her, the weight of years, of complicity, of decisions made under threat of being unmade. She breaks down halfway through her statement, not dramatically, but in a way that halts the room. Tears roll without sound. Her breath catches like a scratched vinyl. The court goes still. "They told me," she says, voice broken, "that I could either be seen or be forgotten, that there was no in-between." She says the parties were never parties. They were screenings, auditions, transactions signed in silence and approved in luxury. As she speaks, a monitor flickers on. Evidence submission number 119. It's a seating chart from a 2011 event in the Bel Air Hills, the same night Kim described. Names are listed with calculated distance. influencers by the DJ booth, rising artists by the bar, established ones near the host, and in the center, a small room labeled Secured No Entry. No one had mentioned that room before. Then come the documents, raw, bureaucratic, undeniable. An itinerary, cross-referenced with bodyguard schedules, reveals Kim's name was listed under priority guests, accompanied by a bodyguard she did not hire. The timeline shows her arrival logged at 9:17 p.m., but no departure time is noted. A surveillance still is entered next. It's dark, low res, but clear enough to make out the outline of her dress, her frame paused in a hallway, mid-step. Behind her, two large figures, men in suits, flank a door. Her face is turned slightly, not toward the camera, but away. A forensic analyst confirms. The footage was pulled from security servers wiped 6 months later, recovered through court-ordered digital excavation. The temperature in the room drops. This is no longer a case. It's a structure, an ecosystem, one that didn't just protect a man, it fed him, enabled him, gave him furniture to hide behind and flight plans to vanish within. A driver testifies next. He doesn't say much, just that he drove the same two clients from the same address more than a dozen times, always after midnight, always instructed to play loud music, always tipped in cash, more than his paycheck, with the envelope handed through the backseat divider. "Did you ever ask who requested the rides?" the prosecutor asks. "Didn't need to," he says. "It was always the same house, the same vibe." Behind him, the gallery remains frozen, and at the very back, quiet as a closing door, sits Kim. She's returned to court. No press announcement, no entourage, just her. The lenses don't catch her at first, but eventually someone notices. She's in black. Large sunglasses hide most of her face, but her posture, still upright, feels like an answer. She doesn't nod, doesn't shake her head, but when a former security contractor reads out a list of names who were frequent guests, some unwilling, she turns slightly in her seat, just enough to face the screen as it plays another clip. This one's audio only, an intercepted voicemail from a booking agent to a third party. Diddy says she's not optional. If she flakes, it's your ass. There's no full name, no timestamp, but the court has already guessed. A journalist tweets, "This is no longer about allegations. It's about engineering. No hashtags, just the word systemic." Across the country, other cases begin whispering. Similar patterns, similar faces. Lawyers request access to sealed settlements. Old NDAs shake on their hinges. Kim doesn't speak during the session. She simply remains. And as another name is sworn in, and another itinerary submitted, and another diagram of a mansion's floor plan projected, it becomes clear. This was never just about what happened behind closed doors. It's about who made sure those doors stayed closed. The morning sun presses through the courtroom's tall windows, casting long, unforgiving shadows across the polished wooden benches. But the usual tension, the weight of anticipation, the nervous shuffles of lawyers and witnesses is notably absent. A hush settles, deeper than before, as murmurs ripple quietly. Diddy has not appeared. Again, the judge's gavel comes down, sharp and final, echoing like a verdict before the trial even begins. Whispers swirl in the gallery. Rumors of a resignation, not just any legal counsel, but his lead attorney, the one who once carried the unshakable air of control into every hearing. The lawyer's departure is more than procedural. It is a crack, a fracture widening into a fissure that cannot be mended. Courtroom staff glance sideways, their practiced stoicism flickering with something unspoken. Reporters lean forward, pens poised, sensing the brittle calm before the storm of consequences. Somewhere, a camera lens blinks, capturing the moment a man who once commanded legions vanishes from his own defense. Kim sits quietly near the back. No sunglasses this time, just eyes that trace the slow unraveling of a life built on silence and shadow. When the courtroom empties for recess, she does not disappear behind a wall of bodyguards or slip away in an armored SUV. Instead, she rises with a measured calm and walks through the front doors. Outside, a different light holds the scene, bright, exposing, unforgiving. Photographers crowd the steps, flashes like bursts of memory, catching fragments of truth. The street hums with the electric buzz of 1,000 unasked questions. A voice calls out, cutting through the noise. "Kim!" She pauses just for a heartbeat. Her gaze does not waver. She does not turn. Her silence isn't empty. It carries the weight of every moment she was never permitted to speak, every glance she was forced to hold steady, every whispered demand she refused to yield to. Her bare feet from that long-ago morning feel far away now, replaced by the measured steps of a woman who knows the cost of endurance. The world waits for a sound, but there is none. And in that silence, the story closes one chapter, but opens 1,000 others. Because some rooms are never really left. They echo, they haunt, they wait. And sometimes the quiet is the loudest roar of all. The courthouse empties slowly, the heavy footfalls fading into the marble corridors like whispered secrets retreating into shadows. The trial is paused, no verdict delivered, no final gavel yet, but the weight of what's been revealed lingers, thick as smoke in a closed room. It hangs in the air, unseen but undeniable, as if the truth itself has seeped into the walls, staining them with quiet reckoning. Outside, the world turns. Headlines shuffle, social feeds flood, but beneath the noise, something deeper simmers. A reckoning not just of facts, but of silences kept too long, of glances averted and doors bolted shut. Kim's face remains unreadable, an island of calm in the storm. Her sunglasses, now stowed away, have become a symbol, armor not of vanity, but of survival. The cameras don't catch her leaving this time. She moves like a shadow slipping between the cracks of a story still unfolding. Voices in the media whisper of systemic rot, of power structures that protect more than they expose. Allies remain silent or move in subtle gestures. A story reposted, a photo quietly deleted, a message unspoken but understood. And somewhere, in a quiet room far from the cameras, the echoes linger. The rooms where secrets were traded, where silence was the currency, where the light never fully penetrated. Because some rooms we never speak about are the ones we never leave.